All right, for this video, I wanted to give you a quick update on the 2022 tax refunds. And then I also want to go into an example of where a taxpayer had their refund lowered because of issues with their economic impact payment number 3. So that was the third stimulus check. This year it's being called the Recovery Rebate Credit. So we'll get into that later. As far as an update on the refunds, not too much has changed from yesterday, to be honest. Returns are starting to get processed. I'm seeing people get their direct deposit dates. They at least have a direct deposit date showing when they will get the refund. And then other taxpayers are getting their refund checks actually cleared into their bank account. So the best advice at this point is just keep checking the IRS site, the Where's My Refund portal. Also go to the IRS site and download your account transcripts. The account transcripts provide a little more detail as to what stage of your return is in the processing. So if you see code 152, that means it's in processing. What we're looking for is code 846. 846 means a refund check has been issued. You just have to wait for it to arrive, either in your bank account or in the mail. So there are a variety of things you need to be looking out for. Check some of my previous videos. We're actually going into more detail on those tax return transcript codes because they can be helpful. Now, as far as this example, I have a fact pattern in front of us, and then I've also got the actual return. So after we go through the fact pattern, I'll jump over to the tax return, and you can see how some of these numbers are working. But in this example, we have John here. He filed a 1040. He self-prepared it. When he filed the return, the number at the bottom, so line 35A, is what shows what amount is going to be refunded to you. That amount was $6,683. Now, when John actually got his refund check, it was much lower. It was only $5,283, which if we do some simple math, subtract one from the other, there was a $1,400 reduction. Now, obviously, $1,400, it's a nice round even number. It sticks out to us immediately. This has to be something to do with the economic impact payment number 3, or as they're calling it on the 2021 tax return, the Recovery Rebate Credit. So let's look at his 1040, some of the facts, and then we'll actually dive into the details and see what it is that John did wrong here. So his W-2 showed he had federal income tax withheld of $5,000, which he reported on line 25A. Okay, so look at your W-2. Box 2 is the amount of federal tax withheld from your paychecks throughout the year. You get credit for this on your tax return, right? So when we compute your tax liability, you get a credit for any federal withholding you had. And if you had more federal withholding than you had taxes owed, you get a refund, okay? Now, the next piece John had here was he has one son. He's a single parent. So his son is his qualifying child for purposes of being a dependent and a qualifying child for purposes of the child tax credit. Now, John completed the 8812. That's the form where you calculate your child tax credit, and he was eligible for $3,000, right? So the $3,000 credit was reported on line 28, and then he gets credit, and that is, again, a refundable tax credit. The last piece, and this is where John had the problem, right? So John claimed the Recovery Rebate Tax Credit. This is the third stimulus check. Remember, in early January 2021, $1,400 checks were issued to taxpayers, and they got a check for every dependent, okay? So what John did when he prepared his tax return, he claimed $2,800 on line 30 as a recovery rebate credit because he was entitled to $2,800, and that's true. However, what he got wrong was, although he's eligible for $2,800, one check for him, one check for his son, he already got $1,400 in early 2021. So you're supposed to claim the amounts you already received, and then you only get credited the difference if you never got a check. And so that's where John messed up here, and that's why the IRS automatically adjusted his tax return. So now that we see these details in front of us, let's go look at the actual tax return, and then we can kind of better see how these numbers are moving. Okay, so now we've got the 1040 for John up here. If we look at the first page, pretty straightforward, right? So we have John, Q taxpayer. He's filing as head of household because he's a single parent, and he's got one son here. We have John Child, his son, and he is claiming the child tax credit. Now, page one, nothing too unusual here, right? He's got wages, some interest income, dividends, some capital gains or losses from the sale of Bitcoin, and then we get down to his taxable income here of $36,674, and then the taxes that he owes is this number up here, line 16, so $4,117. Now is where we get into the issues about what is a creditable tax amount for refundable tax credits, withholding, etc. So line 25A, that's his federal withholding from his W-2. No issues there. That amount matches exactly. And then when we get down to line 28 and 30, these are the refundable credits, right? So line 28 is the refundable child tax credit. So again, remember, John has one qualifying child. The child is over the age of 6, so he gets the $3,000, not the $3,600. So he's claiming $3,000 there on line 28. Now, this is where John went wrong. So remember, his anticipated refund was this amount. So this is the return that John actually filed. So he thought he was getting $6,683. But we have a little note here that shows, okay, this is what his anticipated refund was, and then what was actually deposited was the $5,283, so the $1,400 variance. And upon further review, what John figured out was, well, it's related to this recovery rebate credit. So notice here he's claiming $2,800. And again, remember, he already got a $1,400 check for himself. What he was missing was the $1,400 for his son. So he should only have been recording $1,400 here on line 30. Because he doubled up the amount, the IRS adjusted the refund. When you file the 1040, you should also be preparing the recovery rebate worksheet. We have it here. Okay, so here's the one that's prepared with the tax return software provider we're using. So this will provide a little more color on what's happening. You can see, okay, so it's a recovery rebate credit worksheet, and it does note keep for your records. And that's true, right? The IRS doesn't want this worksheet. The point is you're supposed to use this to figure out how much you can actually claim. So John did everything right from the top down to the bottom until the very middle there. So he answered all these questions appropriately, right? On line 6, we have $1,400. This is the amount he was supposed to receive. Then $1,400 times the number of dependents. That's the $1,400 for his son. So the total amount of the third stimulus payments that he was supposed to get were $2,800. So that's right. Now here's where it went wrong. Notice here on the worksheet on line 13, it says enter the amount, if any, of the EIP, so that's Economic Impact Payment 3, that was issued to you. If filing a joint return, include the amount, if any, of your spouse's EIP 3 claim. Notice here on line 13, it's 0. This is where John went wrong. He forgot to input that he already received $1,300 as part of the EIP 3 claim. So line 14 should have been $1,400, but instead it's $2,800 because he didn't reflect the amount he already received. This is why John had an adjustment to his return. There are a lot of taxpayers that are going through this right now. Now, there's two big issues. One, if you got the money and you just forgot to do this, that's one reason. The other issue I'm seeing is a lot of taxpayers really didn't get that third economic impact payment. They're claiming it because they never received it, but the IRS thinks they already sent it to you. If you're in this space, if you know for sure that you did not get an economic impact payment 3, you're claiming it on this return, but the IRS thinks otherwise, you have, frankly, bigger problems. So the issue is the IRS hasn't put out a lot of guidance yet as to what to do with this problem. Now, I think you've already filed the return, so the return's been filed, and it's been accepted, it's been processed. I imagine what has to happen now is we have to revert to the procedures to file for an EIP 1 or 2 claim, where you have to file the IRS form 3911. So I have a tutorial on filing 3911. I'll put a link to that below. If you are missing that third payment and you know for sure that they haven't sent it to you, you didn't get a check, you didn't get a direct deposit, then you're absolutely eligible for that third payment, right? It's just a matter of trying to persuade the IRS that you didn't actually get it and they should issue you another payment. So, okay, so that covers it for this video. I hope that was helpful. Again, this is one of the, I would say let's say top 3 adjustments I'm seeing this year for reduced refunds. It's because this worksheet is not being filled out correctly. So if you filled it out incorrectly and you already filed, the IRS is going to adjust your refund anyway. If you're still in that prep stage, pay close attention to this. Make sure you're getting it right, because it will not only provide a more accurate return for you, but it would also reduce delays, right? Because if the IRS finds an issue, they put the return on hold and they make their adjustments. It takes that much longer to get your refund check. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment below. Happy to answer when I can. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thanks.